Alright, what's going on everyone? We are back into our swing for the story quest playthrough using the Marvel Knights DLC characters, and we find ourselves inside the Xavier Mansion. Now, when we left off, Juggernaut had tore a bunch of holes through the building, but there's a couple of things that we need to check out before we blitz through the rest of this mansion, because there are a lot of secret chests to find, and one is just here, back behind the corner. And I really like how the chests are designed uniquely for each different part of the story that you go through. There is one right there around that corner, and there's actually another around the corner here, but you have to break down this weakened wall first using these multi-flurry attack type moves. So once you get through that wall, you'll actually find another one right here. And there's nothing else back here behind that portion. And a lot of these items can be destroyed and tampered with to gain gold, credits, units, other things. But there's actually a secret path over here as well that takes you back to another box, which is disguised a little bit differently, given that it is in a different ambient room. But that's all for this portion of the house before we move into the basement. Now, on our way down to the basement, you'll want to detour over here onto the stairs, because there is another crate that's locked behind a wall that you have to break through. And that should do it for the different crates before this Juggernaut fight. Alright, so right off the bat here, we'll want to do what we can to burn down the stagger bar from Juggernaut. And he's now weakened thanks to Morbius's stare here, which is really nice. He's about to the point where he's going to start ricocheting off of things, which can be problematic. But we do have him staggered again, which gets him down to about 30 or 35% health. And hopefully we can finish him off before he starts bouncing off the walls. But that's not going to be the case, because he's kind of difficult to get a read on here. Alright, so let's see if we can work him through. And we are able to. 3 stagger cycles actually isn't bad for Juggernaut. Alright, so let's continue out of this room and leave Colossus to deal with Juggernaut there.
You think you cannot be stopped, Tovarish?
Training sequence initiated. Level Alpha.
Alright, so let's get a couple of these grunts burned down.
These training programs may be holographic. They can still hurt us.
They don't call it the danger room for nothing.
Alright, that gets this opponent here staggered out. And we'll want to do what we can to burn out these guys. The smoke screen and explosive attacks from Punisher are quite efficient, as they cover a large area and deal a nice amount of bursted damage to our opponents here. And we've got one more grunt over here that we can burn down with Punisher's incredible heavy attack range. So let's switch over to Blade for this segment, mainly because as these opponents group up, we can actually use his extreme attack here to burn through the remainder of them. And we've got a mixture of Ultron Sentries and hand grunts, or hand grunt holographs, I should say. And now that we've got some Kree showing up here as well, let's go ahead and get Blade's extreme attack sent through. And with one final attack onto this guy, we should have the beta phase cleared out. So let's go ahead and switch over to Morbius at this point. And first off, let's get a paralyzing gaze up on these heavy opponents here, given that we can always benefit from the increased damage output here. We get these guys staggered down. Morbius is quite a powerhouse character if you can target his attacks efficiently. Especially because he has one of those unique abilities that allows you to weaken the opponents that you are affecting. And even we got almost 400,000 attack onto these opponents here with just the setting up the paralyzing gaze before transitioning over into our extreme attack there, which speaks wonders to Morbius's damage output. Alright, let's go ahead and finish off this little grunt here. And that gets through level Gamma, and level Delta will switch us over into the next segment. Alright, so we'll want to get out of this training room. But over here, before we continue on our left, there's a Cerebro room, which we need to burn out using a Cyclone-style attack, which I think is Blade. And we should have Punisher helping us out with that. Now, once we get through to the room with Cerebro in it, there's a chest here that we can open up. And that's really all you can do, because there's invisible walls over here to keep you from falling off. Let's switch over to Moon Knight, because he traverses a little bit easier. And before you continue, there's actually another box hidden over here in the corner, so make sure you grab that as well. We go up the stairs, and that takes us back up to the main floor. And now we've got to fight off against Magneto. And he is Power Stone infused as well. So do keep that in mind as you are looking to take him on. That he has some excess attack power that he wouldn't normally have otherwise. That gets him down to about a quarter. Or gets his health down about a quarter. And you can roll away from that gravity surge that he has there. Now, these Sentinels, as we saw with the X-Men characters, they are quite a bit weaker, probably due to being under Magneto's power. But they will explode on their own if you don't take them down. But you do want to try and get as much damage in on Magneto as you can while you have him staggered by using one of those cores, as it is one of the best damage dealing attacks that you can have. And switching over to Punisher here, he actually does a decent amount in not only burning down the stagger bar of these bosses from a distance, but he also really does well in even affecting the targeted opponent through their stagger bar and chipping away at their health. Now you'll want to roll away from his magnetic pulse there to assure that you don't take an excess of damage. Let's get this one burned out so we can use that core to our advantage. And that will allow us to finish out Magneto here, hopefully on this stagger cycle. Not quite, but we can go ahead and take him out with a sequence of attacks shortly thereafter. And now we've got a bunch of Outriders on our hands, which isn't exactly fun. So let's activate Blade's extreme attack to burn through a lot of these stronger or mighty Outriders. And now we have Magneto fighting by our side, which certainly helps things a bit. Alright, let's go ahead and soup up one of our Silver Spike attacks here from Blade. And it is nice that he's not frozen in place, but he does have his move speed impacted quite a bit. And that Cyclone attack there should knock out the remainder of those characters there. Now, I don't want to use too many more of these extreme attacks because I'd like to be able to knock out Corvus as we're fighting him on our own in this next little segment here. Though it is an optional fight, you can certainly just take the L on it. Oh, we've got ourselves stuck in a pool there. And that Outrider has some invulnerability on his dash attack, which is not exactly what I wanted to see. And he rolled away from my crescent kick there. And unfortunately taking a lot more damage than I'd like to here, as these Outriders just have very strong attacks. But taking out that Outrider does allow us to replenish our health with that full health recovery orb. That bursts out the remainder of your health and your stagger. And we've got one more of those to take out before it triggers the fight with Corvus.
100 ugly aliens down, 2 more to go.
It was maybe 15, Rocket. Oh, that's a bit of a problem, because I expected that we would have regained our health here.
Good news, Corby. For once, I'm not the ugliest guy in the battle.
Oh dear, that's bad. So let's go ahead and use Punisher's extreme attack to regain some health here. Morbius, I don't think that that paralyzing gaze actually hit Corvus there, which we do want him to. Especially because that will allow us to burn down his health quite a bit easier. And we've already lost Punisher and Blade. Admittedly, they are a bit underleveled for this type of a fight. Moon Knight's not doing great either, and Corvus is dealing additional damage than what he otherwise would when you face him in regular combat. So we're having to do a bunch of dashing and weaving around here. And we're getting some more chip damage in here against Corvus, but at the end of the day, it does seem that we're going to not have what it takes to progress through, especially because our allies are incapable of being revived. But we can roll around Corvus's attacks here quite nicely. He just deals a lot of damage with anything that he does, and we're going to be knocked out with that dash attack from him there. So Magneto is incapable of being staggered, but now we've got to face off against both Corvus and Proxima, which isn't exactly a favorable matchup, because Corvus is dealing just as much damage, and now Proxima, though her attacks are different, are just as strong and devastating. And she actually has a bit more ranged capability that we have to keep in mind. And Morbius is already down to about half of his health. Let's see if we can get him to set up that paralyzing gaze here. Hopefully on Proxima. Yep, we have it up on her. Let's get it up on Corvus as well. And that's her down. Moon Knight's gone down. Blade is soon to follow. And Morbius is down from that series of attacks from Punisher there. Or by Corvus, I should say. We can hopefully stall this off a little bit, but not by much, because we got caught in Corvus's ranged attack there. So we're going to switch over to Moon Knight, because that's going to be the best opponent to, or the best character to get away from these attacks with. And you've just got to guide and glide yourself away from these lightning attacks from Proxima and the wave that is being put out by Corvus. Alright, so we are now into the realm of darkness, which is foreboding, certainly. So let's go ahead and progress through here into the next little segment. We've got some mindless ones, but they are just the standard grunts that you need to be cautious and aware of in this particular area. Now, those three we've got down, so we can continue through the remainder here. Now, as we drop down, you always want to make sure to check back behind these cliffs, because that's where these crates will be located. And as so, there's one right here that you want to make sure that you grab. And right here, this is going to trigger a cutscene where we actually have ELSA Bloodstone introduced. So she'll help us out in these fights against these grunts here. Alright, so these little plants that are here off the side, or I think they're plants, whatever they are, you can pick them up and just kind of throw them, and it'll help pull these mindless one grunts together. And then you can burn them down with some large group style attacks and explosions. In fact, Morbius got a couple of those ones burned down with his attack, or his paralyzing gaze attack there. And we've just got this last one to finish out. ELSA, you have not really helped a whole lot. But we'll go through one more section here, at least until I believe it's Ghost Rider's the character that we end up finding. Oh, we have to talk to ELSA to trigger the next scene. So, as a matter of fact, we are going to go ahead and stop here, just because we're at about at that time, and there will be more that we can progress through, and items that we can find in the next episode as well. So, drop a like and a comment. Let me know what you think of this series. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll be sure to catch you in the next one. Take care.